latest news, I'm April Cummings. Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee reports 476 COVID-19 tests carried out since our last report on Thursday. There was one positive test result in a traveler. There have been 97,707 COVID-19 vaccinations given in total in the Cayman Islands. Of these, 49,960, that is 70% of the estimated population, have had at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine, and 47,747, 67%, have completed the two-dose course. Premier the Honorable Wayne Panton says we can soon expect a report on the PACT government's first 100 days in office. On Radio Cayman's Talk Today this week, he highlighted the continued importance of careful management of the COVID-19 situation, as the pandemic is still very much a reality.
We have been promoting vaccine take-up, and this is it's a very, very key tool in us being able to protect the people of this country when we get to the point of, in accordance with our agreed reopening plan, of reintroducing more risk into the country, which may and probably will at some point lead to infections from SARS-CoV-2 and possibly COVID disease. And this is a very key part of our strategy to be able to manage that, so that our people do not get very sick and do not end up running the risk of dying from this.
Mr. Panton says a key part of the recently announced reopening plan is continual monitoring and assessment.
We'll be reviewing at all stages what the position is, what we're experiencing inside the borders, as well as what's happening outside. And if we have, at any point, two separate clusters of local transmission identified, then we're going to have a reassessment of where we're at and what's going on, and whether we go forward, stay where we are, or go backwards.
While the Premier does not anticipate another full lockdown, he does acknowledge that other measures may be required. We may have to return to social distancing, implement mask-wearing mandates, and the like. And as we learn more about COVID-19, its variants and breakthrough infections, he remains convinced of the value of vaccinations.
One thing about the vaccination is that it is not 100% effective against blocking all infections, but where it does have its massive value is it's very, very effective in limiting the level of sickness that people develop and the risk of death.
This week, Health Minister the Honorable Sabrina Turner organized a vaccination clinic in her constituency in an effort to make it easier for people to get their free COVID vaccines. The Premier says he's hoping to see more of those organized across the island. Captain Kel Thompson wears many hats. He's a pilot, real estate developer, and a tourism entrepreneur heading up the Wyndham Resort here in Cayman.
I don't think it's going to surprise anyone if I say that the impact over the last 2 years on the tourism industry has been nothing short of decimating, because there's no tourism.
What are your thoughts on what lies ahead?
Well, I think initially when we reopen, for a short period of time, there's going to be some pent-up demand for people who specifically want to visit Cayman. That'll include a lot of people where Cayman is their second home, or they have a condo here, and some tourists that are just visitors. We will not benefit from any pent-up demand, because that's already been satisfied by places that were open ahead of us.
As we reported on Radio Cayman this week, Captain Thompson, along with Dr. Michael Tibbetts of Clearly Resorts Cayman, started a website and public info campaign. It was called Reopen Cayman. They decided to stop publishing updates because they believe that their site has done all it can to this point. I asked Mr. Thompson for his perspective on what lies ahead. He says he is concerned about tourism partners potentially taking a wait-and-see attitude about booking travel here until the borders are actually open.
What I believe would be very damaging for us is if the islands fail to adhere to the opening dates that have been published. And these dates now have been published in a lot more detail and with a lot more comprehensive plan than was ever put forward before. So that's a good thing. But if we don't execute that plan in terms of opening dates, it is going to certainly have a very negative effect on our tourism bookings over the next year.
Mr. Thompson is also concerned about the impact of the pandemic and closure on the labor force.
The other thing that I believe is going to come out of this, and I've seen it in our resort, is Caymanians are going to be less, not more, but much less inclined to take jobs in tourism because they have mortgages, they have families, and they're worried about security for themselves and their family. Since the pandemic, and we at the Wyndham, we rehired some staff when we started back doing the quarantine facility. We lost two very, very good members of staff who continued to be employed for that very reason. They told us they wish they were still here, but they have to look out for job security, and they left and went to government. And I heard other similar stories.
While Captain Thompson says he doesn't believe this will hurt the industry forever, he does anticipate some issues in the shorter and medium term. To accommodate Saturday's Pride Parade, the public should expect some road closures. Radio Cayman's Felicia Rankin-Solins has the details.
Road closures will begin with West Bay Road between the 7 Mile Public Beach Roundabout and Lime Tree Bay Avenue from 1 p.m. The parade will proceed south along West Bay Road from 3 p.m. and road junctions to the north and south of the parade's position will be closed as the parade proceeds. Traffic traveling in either direction on West Bay Road and approaching these closed junctions will be diverted onto the Esterly-Tibbetts Highway. As the procession passes closed junctions, these will be reopened to afford motorists the use of the road to the rear of the procession. The procession will end at Palm Heights on West Bay Road, after which the roadway will be fully reopened to traffic. This is expected to happen at about 5 p.m. Motorists traveling in the vicinity of West Bay Road on Saturday are advised to be mindful of delays, exercise caution, and follow the instructions of any police officers present. For Radio Cayman News, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
The Pride Parade is tomorrow, July 31st. The Cayman Islands National Weather Service monthly climate bulletin is in. So what can you expect? Radio Cayman intern Christy Wells has the details.
During April, May, and June, the Weather Service says total rainfall was 358.4 millimeters, within the climatological range. For August, September, and October, the rainfall range is 511.6 to 667.3 millimeters. Forecasters are expecting a 40% probability of above normal rainfall for the same time period this year. Basically, a few more wet days and more wet spells. The outlooks also call for a 50% chance probability of above normal temperatures and a 50% chance of at least 15 heat wave days. As to how dry it will be, there is no concern about drought conditions for October or November, but over the next 2 months, there is a 30% chance probability of at least 3 7-day dry spells. From Radio Cayman News, I'm Christy Wells.
KPMG gives back with their July Tennis at the Terrace Wimbledon-inspired event. Partner in business development at KPMG, Nico Whitaker.
It was an inaugural event for KPMG, so we thought it would be really good to get everyone in one place to kick off the summer. And then we also wanted to tie in a charitable aspect to it, so we brought in the Life organization. Life Literacy is for Everyone, had some silent auction items, and then we also raffled off some tickets to Wimbledon for the championships next year. I think we had roughly about 200 guests attend, and we were able to raise $21,000 on behalf of Life.
The bidding on items signed by tennis titans like Novak Djokovic, Naomi Osaka, Andy Murray, Andre Agassi, Bjorn Borg, and Pete Sampras made it possible for KPMG to lend Life a helping hand. When we do charity events, one aspect that we always try and look for is charity events that focus on the kids in Cayman, and Life is one of those that we're actually very, very close with. One of our senior partners is actually on the board of Life. During the pandemic, we helped out with Life and trying to get computers for all the kids that did not have computers at home. To learn more about Literacy is for Everyone, also known as Life, you can visit them online at life.org.ky. That is your latest local news from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.